Hello crafters and welcome to the P2PCrafts Winter online show brought to you by From Picture to Page and Beyond Papercraft shows. I'm your host for this session, Wendy Stewart, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here. I've been a paper crafter for many years. I do scrapbooking, card making, art journaling, mixed media. I'm willing to try anything once. So it is my absolute delight to be part of this show and to host this session for you. So the P2PCrafts Winter online show includes demonstrations by our talented retailers and guests, and we're bringing it right live into your craft rooms, living rooms, wherever you are, and we hope you're nice and warm wherever you are. Now, all the details of our past sessions and upcoming sessions can be found on the From Picture to Page website, which is from picturetopageandbeyond.com.au. You can also see all the details for this online show. You can watch all the replays there, and while you're there, please don't forget to sign up to our email list so you're the first to know about all things coming up and happening and where you can find all the replays. Now, if you're watching live on Facebook or you're watching a replay or you're watching on YouTube, please pop a hello in the comments. Give us a shout out, just like Christine and Sandra and Faye and Debbie have done. And we're so delighted to have you all with us. And we hope you've had a great day watching all of these sessions. So I was going to say to you that please don't forget once again, the email, go and sign up to the email so you can get all your recaps, get all the information. And as you know, you get wonderful emails from Michelle giving us more information than we need about everything happening in the Picture to Page family. So I'm absolutely thrilled that I get to be on this side of the camera while Michelle's on the other side of the camera. So she's here with us and I cannot wait to welcome her officially and bring her on and to chat. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, Wendy. Hi, crafters. It's lovely to be on this side of the camera.
I know it's still such an unusual thing when roles are swapped over here. So it's just awesome.
But I do thank you because it's very hard to do both at once. So it makes it a little bit easier.
It's all good. Yeah, I'd love to see you try do both at once, Michelle. That would be hilarious.
I'm sure I could.
I mean, we have skills. We can do this, But anyway, so Michelle, what are you going to be sharing with us today, please?
Excellent. So for those that have been playing along at home for the last few months, we've done all sorts of art journaling, and I really am passionate about, bringing newbies into mixed media and art journaling. So I thought I'd share a few of my tips and tricks for embedding our rice papers into our art journals. Now, This could still be done on cards, on scrapbooking backgrounds, on canvases even, but it's just a few little things that help us so that we're not so scared of rice papers because they can be a little bit overwhelming. And a way of showing how we can tear them and get them stuck into our art journaling. We're then going to run over how to embed them because, again, that's something that takes a little bit of know-how and otherwise it looks a little bit like kindergarten collage. So we just need a few little tips on how to embed them better into our backgrounds. And then we're going to finish off with embellishing them as well. So these are three very different layouts. The challenge with mixed media is we really do need to let each layer dry before the next one. And in this half an hour or so, we just don't have time to wait for things to dry. So I've done three separate ones, and we're going to see some very different rice papers. We're going to see some Art by Marlene ones, some Scrap FX, and then finally some Chow ones, which are just gorgeous Italian rice papers that I'm really looking forward to sharing with you.
Awesome. I'm so excited because, I bought many rice papers from your wonderful store, and they're just so pretty. I don't want to touch them. And, they're in my art journal, beautiful box, ready to go, but I think I've been hesitant to tear them or do whatever. So I'm really excited for this session because I know by the end of it, you're going to have inspired all of us to go and get out our rice papers and get going with them.
Yeah, I certainly hope so.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment just to swap over your camera and I'll come back when you're ready. So I don't know about all of you, but I won't tell you how many rice papers I have in my studio, but I'm hoping this is going to inspire us, teach us how to get them out, give them a go. I mean, some of them are just so beautiful. I've just got them, just in A4 pockets on the walls of my room, which is wonderful, but that's not the object of them. The object is to use them in our art journaling. So I'm really excited that Michelle is going to share some of her tips and tricks with us. So wonderful to have you all here. Hi Val, hi Em, hi Carol, hi Faye, hi Lorraine, hi Bronnie, hello Carol again, hello Kathy, hi Jen, hi Tamara, hi lovely ladies. So grateful to have you all here. Hi Tracy. Sorry if I've said hello to you already, but so I think Michelle is ready for us. So I will swap the camera over and take it away, Michelle. All yours, Michelle.
Excellent. Thanks, Wendy. So, like we said, we're going to talk about how to embed our rice papers into our art journals today. So, one of the art journals I'm using is this fantastic new rainbow journal by Marlene. Now, it's a gorgeous bright colour and it comes with 5 separate journals. So, for those of you that have done my class, it's always good to have a couple of journals on the go so you can work between them as they dry. So, this is a really economical way to do that. So firstly, I thought I'd just show you a little bit about what we're talking about. So here's one that I've done previously. And you can see you can still read the text quite fine, but it is quite embedded into the background. The colour really does come through.
Yes.
It doesn't look like it's so much stuck on top. So that's what we'll be aiming for today. And as I said, we're going to be using some beautiful Art by Marlene papers that are just so beautifully brightly coloured, or some of them are black and white.
Stunning.
Some of these Scrap FX papers that are nice and black and white, and I'll show you how to add the colour.
Okay.
And then finally these ones, and like I said, these are Ciao Bella ones, and they're just delightful. This is the Nautilus, but there's a Da Vinci one, there's a few others, La Traviata, I think. So just, it tells a story in itself. But again, this can be a little bit overwhelming. So we're going to look at how we can break out those elements and then rearrange them into our own creations.
Absolutely. They are just stunning, Michelle. Can't wait to see what you do.
Okay, so step 1, we are going to take this art paper and embed it on this page. Now, this is an art journal page that I prepared earlier. I've used masking tape to tape the seams. I've gessoed through a stencil to create these background circles. And then I've added some paints. And because, the paints are so versatile and can tie in with the colours, so I've decided to go for a bit of a sky theme with these sky elements.
Yeah,
so the
absolutely.
colours I've used are Dilutions Hawaiian, Blue Hawaiian, Dilutions London Blue, and then Dina Wakley Lapis and Sky.
Gorgeous.
So they're the 4 blues I've used together, as well as the darkroom door stencil to add that little bit of colour. Okay, so first up I'm going to use a paintbrush. Now this is one of the Dina Wakley ones. I just like it because the bristles are quite stiff. And we'll move the journal out of the way. And what we're going to do is, because when we tear it, it gives us a nice feather edge and it makes it easier to embed because it gives us a bit of step down to work with.
Yes.
But we don't want to just tear it because, as we know with tearing paper, it just gets a bit of out of control. And this rice paper, and you can see it's got all these beautiful fibres in it. So what we want to do is actually use a wet paintbrush and some water to help guide us and pull these elements apart before we put them into our art journal. So we're going to wet the brush. So like I said, we want to make sure we're on a surface that's okay to get a bit damp. Now the first thing I want to do is pull this beautiful coloured balloon out. Might leave the bird attached. So just really gently, and can you see there how the water's starting to soak in?
Yes, definitely. We can see that, Michelle.
Yeah, so sometimes you just need to keep adding a little bit. And all papers vary, so how much water really will depend on paper. Now I definitely want to keep this, so I might even just create a bit of a lead in there. So what I want to then do is just really gently, can you see how that's coming apart? See how that creates that beautiful feathered edge?
Yeah.
So we want to then just use our hand to guide around so we don't tear our image. And look, if we do, we can always stick it back together, but we'd rather not. Now I want to avoid that cloud so I can put it in something else. So this is suddenly where these rice papers become good value, because you're not just getting one piece, you're actually getting quite a few bits and pieces to stick in. Oh, watch out there. Watch the little birdie. Oh, got a bit of the cloud. Okay, so there's our first bit. Now the other one I think I might use, we might even grab this cloud, or we might even leave the hearts attached.
Oh, lovely.
So we'll just go around it like this. And again, you can see sort of it soaks in, and then you can just give it a little bit, gently prising it apart, and you can feel. Now sometimes, depends on the paper, some of these long strands can get quite stuck. In that case, just have a pair of scissors nearby and just snip them. Don't try pulling it out, or else you can end up dislodging it and making a bit of a mess.
Definitely.
Yeah, so don't do that. Just be rare and just So again, we just want to let those dry a little bit. I also really like this rainbow on the cloud, so we might pull that out as well. I think we all need a bit of rainbow and sunshine.
Definitely.
It's a little bit tight through there, but I think we'll be right.
And Michelle, you're just using the tiniest bit of water over there, aren't you?
Yeah. It's just, like I said, not much at all. And we know that it will dry and it doesn't run. So you can actually use this very same technique with tissue paper as well.
Yeah, of course.
Tissue paper and rice paper are very similar. Just tissue paper tends to be a little bit more delicate, so you just need to be a little bit more careful. Yes. But this is exactly how I would create feathered edges around the tissue paper as well. So whether it's the Dina Wakely tissue paper that we've got in stock, they're probably the main ones at the moment. Yeah, you can do exactly the same thing and pull out the elements that you want. So don't feel like you're stuck with the whole thing. Okay, so I think we might leave that for now.
Okay.
For these bits. Yeah, I think that'll do. So then we'll go back to our layout, check we've got it up the right way.
That's always important to check.
Woo, would that be the first time? And we've talked previously about composition and about, just considering those thirds through. Now, do we want, I don't know, perhaps there and there? Maybe grouping those a little bit. Okay, that sort of gives us an idea of where we want it. So again, we can audition our parts. We can really just place them in a few different spots. Think about what story it might tell us. If it went like this kind of shows us not having a bit of a rough ride.
Having a bit of a rough landing coming up, possibly.
Yeah, but maybe up there. And it's hard to tell, but you kind of get this little warm, fuzzy feeling when you find the right spot.
Definitely.
It's a bit hard to explain. Okay, now I'm going to grab my most favourite, and I'm sure you've heard me bang on about this before, the Crafters Workshop Matte Gel Medium.
Yes.
So it's an adhesive. Yes, you could use, I certainly wouldn't use double-sided tape for this because it's not the effect we're going for. You could probably use a glue stick, but this matte medium, because it dries matte, it's not glossy, it's just gorgeous. So move that water across. Okay, and this is like my third tub I've been through in the last time. And I've also got this big, I think sometimes you call it a chippy brush, just a cheapy brush. And then make sure you rinse it because gel medium is very unforgiving.
Absolutely.
When it comes.
I think we've all lost a few brushes thanks to not...
Oh, my goodness. Mm-hmm. Now, the key with this is that we don't want to just stick it on. We want to make sure we've got both sides evenly covered. So the key, like I said, is to create a bit of a bed for it. I'm not sure whether you can see there. It's all a bit clear.
We can, Michelle. Yeah, we can. We can see the gel.
And then what I want to do
medium
is
there.
Just really gently and then sort of not stick the whole bit down and working sort of from the middle out. Okay, so you can see there I've got a nice even coat on the see that on the top.
Yes, we
can.
And
what that does is allow both sides of the rice paper to take in an equal amount of moisture, so it doesn't tend to buckle. And look, it's art journaling. If it buckles a bit, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But sometimes with this nice papers, it is just nice.
Yes.
So I'm just going to do these one at a time. So again, and because I know it dries matte, I don't need to be too concerned about spreading it further because it won't leave sort of that glossy patch that if you were using something else might. So. You can also use your fingers. I was tending to use my fingers because it just gives you that sense of how much medium's on it. But sometimes we don't want to get too messy. I know that that's unusual coming from me.
Especially when we're doing art journaling.
Exactly. Okay, and we can even overlap them a little bit. And you can see just really subtly how the background comes through. Sometimes people say, why do you do all these layers in art journaling? You tend to cover them up, and you do. But again, you can see some of that stenciling below it coming through. Okay, so that's our first step with tearing and sticking it into our art journal. So we're going to put the lid back on, and I'm going to pop that brush straight into water so that we don't lose another brush. I think last time I did a demonstration, I lost a brush. Didn't get clean soon enough. Okay, so we're going to set that one aside, and then I'm going to find one that I did earlier.
Okay, great.
Okay, so here's an art journal background that I'd done, I don't know when, a while ago. That in a good spot?
Yes.
Excellent. And so we can see I had, where did I put it? So this is the Scrap FX one, and I've torn it up and already stuck it in here.
Beautiful.
Got gesso in the background, it's got a little bit of stamping, and then it's got these two, well, I'm hoping it's these two colours, I'm pretty sure it would be. So it's the Delusional Vibrant Turquoise and the Funky Fuchsia. And I'm going to use it to help blend it in. So you can see with the white, it's sitting quite on top. It's quite solid. So what we want to do is just bring that little bit of colour in so it doesn't look so sort of in your face.
Yeah. Michelle,
Now,
and are those the shimmer paints? Pardon me.
No,
are those the shimmer? They're just the normal ones?
Yep. Yeah.
Great,
because
thank
that's
you.
what the background was done with. So the thing that I'm always banging on about is understanding and knowing your paints. So these are the swatches that I've done that we drag around to all the stores. And what we can see, so the Funky Fuchsia, we can see there that we can see the text quite clearly, as opposed to
Definitely.
this one. And then the Vibrant Turquoise, we can see it a little bit, but not as much. Definitely not as much as the Blue Lagoon, or even that Blue Hawaiian is really see-through.
Yeah.
All those fluoros are quite see-through. So again, there's no wrong paint. It's just perhaps using it in the wrong spot if we want something that's see-through and it's not. So quite often the more solid colours are the ones that we'd use in stencil on top rather than using it for backgrounds, because they'll take away that. So we're going to use the Funky Fuchsia and the Vibrant Turquoise.
Okay.
And we're going to use just an old meat tray for a paint palette. I'm going to have some wipes handy because it's always interesting to see how this goes. So, again, for those of you that know me, my art journaling tends to be, just put the paint straight on, but we want to be a little bit more careful with that today.
Yeah.
Oops. So what we're going to do is just put a little bit here and a little bit of this. And so what we want to do is just start blending it in. So looking at what colours we've got. And now that I have green on my finger, let's start with green. Okay, so we can see here, that we've got some green here. So what we want to do, like I said, just make sure you've got just the littlest bit of paint. And I'm really just sort of figuring out as we go. So you can see I'm just putting it on. See how light it is? And then because I do want some of that background to still show up, is just taking some of that off where I still want it a bit more solid.
Yeah, that's looking great, Michelle.
Yeah, so just kind of slowly working it through. And again, this isn't our final level of art journaling, so we don't need to get too worried about it. We just want to bring some of that colour. So that's also why it's really important, and we've talked before about using the sketchbooks to record what colours we've used. So it makes it much simpler if you've done a background, quite a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
To know what to come back to and which colours to add to it without having to guess, which is a little bit of what I had to do today. But that's okay. So again, like I showed you before, we know that this green's quite opaque, not as see-through as the other one, so we don't want to get too heavy-handed on it. Of course, you could use a paintbrush, but I think using your fingers for this just gives you a slightly better feel, and it doesn't put any streaks through it. So because we've got more than one finger, I'm going to use some of this on this finger. So again, just bringing this one right through the middle. And you can see how that's really starting to take on some of that background colour.
Definitely,
and pull in the right papers. Like you said, if it was one of the pretty coloured ones, you might not want to bring it quite as much into the background. It just really depends. And I'll show you on our third example how we've done it much more subtly. So where are we? It's a bit, like I said, we're making it up a little bit, trying to match what colours where, because we can see a little bit through it, because it is, oops, no, I've mixed them, because it is a little bit see-through, so we can see a little bit of what's going on underneath it.
And the paints do tend to dry quite quickly, don't they, Michelle?
Yeah, exactly. That's why, the matte medium gives you a little bit of leeway to move them around.
Yeah.
But again, see that I don't want that 8 to go too far back. I can just buff it up that little bit. But we can see quite a bit of white through here, so I'm not trying to mix the colours.
No. And I think if you use your fingers, gives you a little more control, I feel, to get it exactly in the right.
Exactly.
Not that
And
a paintbrush wouldn't, but you just have that
No.
little bit more control over what you're doing.
And it's just a bit easier to sort of feather it out, which is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So, and of course, if I feel like I've removed too much, I can always go and add a little bit more on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or if I feel, that looks a bit rough, you can see how that really sort of grounds the 9 by doing that.
And that's the beauty of art journaling. You can do layer upon layer upon layer until you're satisfied.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can decide that, well, maybe, we don't want this sitting so far forward. So we can make it a little bit thicker. But
you can highlight parts of your work. You can mute parts of your work. You can do, you have that ultimate control as to what you would like your piece to look like.
Exactly. And then that's what's great about paints, because they're so flexible. We can use them to create the background, and we can have it matching in with what we do now. So we just slowly work around. So we're not getting too pedantic, because it's not our final layer.
No.
But we do want to just try and match it. And there's sort of no rhyme or reason to where the colour sits in the background either, so...
And everyone's saying lovely colours, and Sandra's just said it again, lovely colours.
Well, yes, I don't even remember when I did this background, but when I saw it, I thought that would be a good one to use today. So I might actually get this art journal finished in the next 5 years at the rate I'm going.
You just might, Michelle. You just might.
Know. People talk about finished journals. I'm not quite sure what that means. But,
yeah.
Well, there was a question in one of the Facebook groups, how many unfinished block backgrounds do you have? It's like, about as many as pages in the journal.
Yeah, something like that.
Exactly. So if we've got time, I can keep going a little bit more. So again, you can sort of see this one.
Yes, you have, yep.
So that one we might leave a bit dark to really send it back.
Yeah. You've got a good 15 minutes to go yet, Michelle. You're going fine.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, we wouldn't want to be one of these people. It takes up everyone's time.
No, you would never do that.
Oh, but we've had such a fantastic day, haven't we? We've had
it's been brilliant. I can't believe it's like nearly 6:30 Melbourne time. The day's just flown, and we've been so fortunate to have such amazing artists come and share what they're doing with us, and everybody for supporting us. It's just been incredible.
It certainly has. Okay, and this art, generally, like I said, we can just get through it, but it can be really relaxing, because you really just sort of, I don't know, it's a reminder to trust your instincts to a degree as well.
Definitely.
You're just kind of looking at it going, oh, maybe I should just don't overthink it. There we go. And you can really see, like I said, a lot of this would have been done with probably leftover paint, which is why it's so thin.
Yes.
So we could always just go and, like you said, add that colour back in a few spots.
Exactly.
We thought that it needed, like I said, that it wasn't quite. And that's what's great about art journaling. You can kind of, if you've added something into the foreground, you can go, oh, okay, I can add a little bit of that back into the background, and then working sort of backwards and forwards at the same time.
Michelle, and I'm just going to read this lovely comment from Carol. It says, "It has been a terrific day. You ladies know how to deliver a good show." So thank you so much, Carol, and everybody else for your kind words.
Yeah, we've certainly had some practice over the last year or so.
Yes.
Some of our original ones, and even Sandown, which was only, 8 or 9 months ago.
Correct.
And how far we've come, and how far all the retailers have come.
Everybody. I mean, none of us knew, I remember when we started last year, it was like, yeah, okay, we can do this. Come on, we can do this. We need a camera. We can do this. So,
Exactly.
And now look at us.
So many of the retailers, doing regular
wonderful
content, whether it's on their Facebook or YouTube.
We are indeed fortunate to be part of an amazing crafting community here, and I'm so grateful for it.
Exactly. It certainly is. So Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. You can see,
Yeah.
I mean, in a way you almost can't see, can you, where it was. It now looks very much like it was a part
no,
of
but
it all
we've
along.
been watching, so we kind of know what you've,
Yeah.
highlighted and what you've muted. So
Yep, exactly. So yeah, you can sort of just keep working that, and you can create a bit more of a shadow if I wanted. Look at that, just needs that tiny bit more into there. Yeah. Okay, so I think we might leave that one where it is, and we'll go on to, so we've shown how to tear and stick. We've shown how to embed, and that's by pulling the background colours into the foreground, or likewise the foreground colours into the background. So what we're going to do next, and I hate wasting that paint, I shall come back to that, is, oh my goodness, what a mess. Okay, embellish. So this is really, really different to the previous one.
It couldn't be more different, Michelle. That's incredible.
So
I
this
love
was
it.
the Nautilus. Get that colour off. So this is what it looked like to start off with. And you can see how I've pulled those elements out and not been stuck to where they are. So created quite a different look. I've documented what I've used.
Yep.
So like we said, using just a real plain notebook, and we've got these in the store, and just, you won't be able to read my handwriting, but just keeping track of what we've done. So I know what paints I've used. I know that I've mixed it to create a bit of a glaze.
Yes.
So that when I go back to it, so we did exactly the same thing here. We used the brush to feather, put it on with gel medium, let it dry overnight. And then yesterday, and again, it's really subtle, it's hard to see, but pulled some of that colour into it. So can I sort of show you there?
Yeah.
You can see here how I've pulled some of that colour into it.
Definitely, yep.
And then the other thing I did was using some art foamies and some stamps is just to start stamping over a little bit as well. And again, if you're really looking for it, it's hard to see. But this is one of my favourite art foamies. It's Spot On, Bolzer Designs one. And just added a little bit of darker stamping here and there, just to grunge it up a bit.
And Michelle, did you use paint on the art foamies to place on that journal?
Yes. So that's
it's
where
paint.
I've used some
Wonderful.
there.
Yep.
I think these are actually rubber stamped.
Yeah.
I didn't do any stenciling. So again, whether stenciling's embellishing or embedding, who knows?
Definitely.
So what I'm going to do now is start doing a little bit more, like I said, embellishing. So usually we add a word. So rather than take up too much time, maybe something like adventure through here, and I might die cut that. So for those of you that follow when I was making this big canvas, so this is kind of the inspiration, using die cut.
Yeah.
So that we can really easily add some words in.
Definitely.
We could stamp it, or again, we could, print it out and then I could add it on and do that same embedding as well.
You can, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of gold paint. I don't know whether I really need to add that. But, looking at some of our different markers, so I've got a gold pen, I've got a white Posca pen. But one of my favourite things to do is, because I know a lot of this has the gel medium on it so it will blend, is using the Faber-Castell Pitt pens. Because particularly you can see I've got a range of browns. But what we can do is say, again, this is all really subtle. So perhaps something like if we wanted to emphasise this here, I'll put a bit of a shadow around it. So what we could do, can you see that okay?
I can, yes, we can.
Just
Sorry,
adding
we
this
can.
in.
Those pens are fantastic. I love them.
It's really subtle. I've actually got them originally for faces, but I find them good. Now you can see, again, very hard, but you can sort of see there, like I said, where it just starts to...
Because you just want a gentle highlight there. You don't want, solid lines.
Exactly. Something too dark, just to bring some of that in. So again, here we might say, okay, if we just put a little bit here. And if it's really, you're really nervous about it, you can even just start with a few little dots and then just kind of smudge that in and see how that goes.
Definitely.
And the same sort of here, if we just... So the other things I might consider doing, like I did on the canvas, was using some chipboard
Okay.
and colouring that in similar colours, using paints or using the
Yeah.
metallic paints. Like I said, adding some words to it. One of the great things for mixed media is adding some paint splatter. Now, I'm not going to do that because we're going to get it everywhere, and it's getting too late in the day.
No,
to create
no
too much.
splattering now, thank you.
Exactly. Oh my god. This is the last. I just got it everywhere. So we don't need to do that with the camera quite so close.
No. Michelle, I've always been hesitant to use chipboard in my art journaling just because of the bulk of it.
Yeah. Look, I don't use it a lot.
Yeah.
I guess the few times I've done it.
Yes.
And, if you've ever done a journal class with Dina Wakely, she will go back in, pull some of the other pages out if it's getting too thick.
Yes.
So I probably only, would use it on probably less than 10% of the page.
Okay,
but
good to know.
Something
Good to know.
Consider. And again, gold, I don't actually have a gold Posca pen, but just again, looking at some of that detail.
Yes.
And just, it's going to be really hard to sort of see, but just looking at little bits to highlight. Because just when you see it in real life, just having that gold catch the light.
Just catch the light, Having a little bit of trouble seeing it, Michelle.
Yeah, it's really subtle. So just sort of, again, trusting your instincts a little bit, just picking out where there might be a little bit of something you want to sort of copy there. Or, like we said, we had some numbers here, so whether we sort of repeated those. Like I said, and the Posca pens are really good for that too.
Just make sure you're holding the lid tight while you give it a good shake so it doesn't go flying everywhere.
And also, because this is sort of quite grungy and off-white, I would want to be careful how I've used the white. But what I've also done before is used the white, and then you can use some of the paint or some of the pit pen back over it to take the white off it.
Okay, great idea.
So, so if we just thought, we wanted to, again, some of this gets quite see-through, so perhaps add a little bit more embellishments there.
Yeah.
And, of course, when we do it in one place, we want to do it in a couple of places.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I like to make sure if I'm
thinking it.
Yeah, sorry. I like to make sure that I've got at least 3 of those little patterns on each page, 3 or 5 or 7 or whatever it is.
That's not enough. I need a few more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the trick is also to go less is more and stop. You can always add later, but...
Yeah, and look, that's what, it's sort of hard when you teach this, is how to know when to stop.
Correct.
And I think the key for me is, again, listening to that inner voice and, with lots of our decisions, we sort of, we broaden our options and then we narrow them. And we broaden them, we option them again. And what we want to do is sort of narrow those options. When we start saying, oh, well, we could, and do something that's quite different to where you've been going, I think that's the time to stop.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then otherwise we, get a little bit too carried away. So like I said, I'll be able to put some photos on our Facebook page in the next couple of days when I get this finished. But I think I'm going to add a word.
Yeah.
I'm going to definitely add a little bit more gold. So we've got the Dina Wakely metallics are just gorgeous.
Oh,
so this
they're
is
divine.
A gilt. This is a really pretty gold. But I really love the penny too, so a bronze colour.
Yeah.
So that can be really good if you want something metallic-y but not too bright.
Yes.
So, perhaps getting that with a little bit of the word I'm searching for, bubble wrap. That's it, bubble wrap.
Bit of bubble wrap mark making would go down perfectly there, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So it might be a little bit of bubble wrap or a little bit of art foamy.
Yeah.
Just to sort of subtly add a few little bits, again, so it just catches that glimmer in the sun. So...
And that art foamy that you've got there looks like fishing netting, so it would be perfect.
Exactly. And just, you don't have to put paint all over it.
No.
Again, just that little bit, and then just adding it and putting it slightly over the image really helps to start embedding it. And like I said, I love this because it takes that page which told its own story and we've rearranged it to make it tell a different story.
Definitely.
So
that is looking fantastic, Michelle. Great ideas, great tips. Absolutely wonderful.
So I hope we've given you something to think about.
Definitely.
We've talked about tearing and embedding, so you can get that ready. Now you can see the next steps here would be to bring some of this blue back in around it to take the white out and perhaps even add a bit more white in the clouds.
Yes.
We talked about that embedding. So bringing the colour from the background into the foreground, And then likewise here, so we might decide, okay, we've got this, but we've got these beautiful pinks, so maybe we need, a little bit of this pink stenciling here and there just to help bring the foreground colours to the background.
Yes.
And then finally we talked about that embellishing, so adding just little bits and pieces, a little bit of stamping over it to start sort of bringing those layers together. And having some fun with art journaling.
Absolutely wonderful, Michelle. Well, I'm going to give you a moment just to swap your camera over so we can have a chat before we have to say goodbye.
Excellent.
Thank you. Wasn't that inspiring? And trust me, if you've never tried it before, it's really not that hard. And yes, Michelle does make it look easy, but just even get a piece of, get a piece of paper, get a piece of cardstock, just have a go, just put some paint on, make some marks. It's all there. And you can always go back and watch any of these videos for inspiration. And I know Michelle's got a whole bunch of videos as well online. So please have a go. It's lots of fun and you get nice messy hands and then you can just have all fun making. And then, if your hands are dirty, you can't be cooking or doing housework or anything. So there's another tip. So, all right, Michelle's ready to come back. So thank you, Michelle. That was really inspiring. I loved it. And thank you for making me feel a little more comfortable about tearing up all those beautiful rice papers I bought from you.
Oh, Wendy, you're so welcome. I love your point. If you've got paint on your hands, you can't possibly be doing the cooking or housework.
Oh, so. Definitely not laundry or ironing. Tick, tick.
Exactly. So before I go, I just wanted to mention our special for the P2PCrafts Winter Online Show. So mixedmediaart.net and click on the Shop Online button or Mixed Media Art Studio at Shopify. And we've got 10% off all the rice papers and my favourite gel medium. So if you want to do some art journaling and don't have this, get it into your stash.
Yes.
So 10% off, and that'll be right through all this week until the 1st of August.
Okay.
So our shop is closed at the moment, but we're definitely here for click and collect in Mount Waverley. And, of course, we're shipping, and we ship usually within 24 hours. So everything will be sent out. It's ordered over the weekend on Monday and then into Tuesday, and we'll be here for some of next week. We'll yet to see how much of it, but definitely here Mondays and Fridays.
Fingers crossed.
And then, like I said, always, I'm only a phone call away, so send me a call, give me a call or send me a text, and we can definitely arrange a pickup time as well if you're nearby.
Yeah, and you've got free shipping over $100 as well within Australia.
Yes, once you place your order over $100, we ship that. Yeah, we're shipping out across Australia. We're getting good at it. We're getting good at this packing and shipping.
I know, right?
Australia Post is actually doing a really good job at the moment too. So deliveries from here to Little River or here to Bendigo in about 2 days. So
that's fantastic. That's really, really good. That's what.
So yes, I hope I have encouraged you to get out your rice papers, use a little bit of water to tear them, embed them in with a really good gel medium, and just use them. Create something.
Just have fun.
Exactly.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us on the other side of the camera. I'm not going to say bye because you're kind of in the next room, so I'll see you in a moment. Thanks, Michelle. Bye. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for that session. I hope you were inspired. It definitely inspired me to, go home and as soon as I have a moment, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday, to get out those rice papers, get out my art journal and have fun. So we just want to thank you once again for joining us. It's been incredible. There's one more session to go for the day and then the wrap up. So please be with us and join us for the next incredible retailer that's coming on board on the hour, which is 7 o'clock. Anyway, so this is me, Wendy Stewart, signing off and saying, hope you've enjoying your crafty day and hope you've been crafting along. Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll catch you another time. Bye for now.